Alright, now it is time to paint the trees. So I still have some green, but I know I'm going to need more. And I have some brown, but I don't really want to make my tree all one color of brown. That would be kind of boring. So I'm going to do a few things, mixing color, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, I'm back. So I mixed a whole lot of different colors. I've got 3 different colors of green. This one I just mixed green and a little bit of blue together, and then I added a little yellow back in because I got a 2 blue. And then this one is mostly pure green with like a tiny bit of yellow and a tiny bit of blue at different amounts because I was just trying to make it kind of different. And then this one, I just added a whole lot of yellow, and it kind of naturally mixed with this blue that was already here and made that kind of nice, bright, light colored greenish yellow. And then I made almost a purplish reddish brown and a really yellowy brown. Both with just, the first one I used the red that was here, that one I used the orange was there, and then I just added a little bit of blue to this one to make it a little more neutral, and I added of course green to this one to make this one brown earlier, and then I added a few other bits of color here and there just kind of as I intuitively thought it would work. So feel free to experiment and come up with some different tones. You don't want to just paint it this color of green and one color of brown. It's boring. It doesn't look three-dimensional. It doesn't look real. It's much cooler and better looking if you just mix up some more paint ahead of time. So first I'm going to start with this pine tree. I love pine trees. So I like to paint one side darker than the other. And I don't worry too much about sticking exactly to my lines because trees are uneven anyway, and so that's natural. So I do that, and then I'm going to let that sit for a sec. And I'm going to get some more brown, of this dark brown, and I'm going to throw it in a few select spots on these tree branches below that I've drawn, just as I feel like it fits. Okay. To sort of make it seem like there's some branches and some of the trunk that you can see at different points, because I know that with these kind of trees that happens. And I just got a little too much water on there, so you saw I just sucked it up real quick. I'm going to do the same thing down here now that I feel like it's gotten a good amount of saturation, and it's still kind of wet, both of them are. So I was thinking that it would be a good time to put in the other side, right over here. So now I'm going to get some of my yellowy brown. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to paint that part. And it's going to mix automatically with the other one. So I went, you'll notice, really light with my yellowy brown. That's because I knew that when it mixed, it would get darker. So I think that turned out pretty nice for the bark. And normally I would let this dry completely before I moved on to the branches, in which case I would just paint this one. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get the yellowy brown that I already made, because it's a pretty nice yellow, yellowish brown for this particular kind of tree, which I was thinking of was sort of like a willow or something. So I was thinking it had pretty light colored bark. And you know, whatever kind of tree that you are drawing or painting, you just look and see what it really looks like, what the color is like on that tree, and it'll give you a sense of what you should make as far as your colors that you mix. Now I'm going to be really careful not to get very much, so I'm going to go over there and I'm going to brush it off a bit before I even come back, because I don't want to make this too dark. Oh, it's not quite working. I need a little more. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to come back over. I'm going to paint this part, because I still want to get a mix in there, and I still want there to be sort of an impression of a shadow going on. Okay, that looks pretty nice. It's a little bit too brown. I'm going to try and suck some of that up. Oh, I might have gone too far, but I'll let it dry here and we'll see. This other one is probably getting close to ready. So I'm going to get some of my darker green from over here on my palette. And I like starting with that with this kind of tree. And then I add the highlights afterwards. Notice how I don't paint every single spot with this paint. I kind of let it pool up a little bit naturally and just intuitively through how I move my brush. That comes from practice, so try it out. So I really like the way that looks. It really mimics the way that you can see the sky behind a tree in a lot of different points around the tree. And it's got a nice mix of color. So I don't know if I'm even going to put any other colors on there, but I'll see. For this one, I want to use my yellowy green, and then I might add some green to mix with it. So I'll start with this. Same process. And I'm going to do it asymmetrically a little bit. So see how I didn't do it all the way over the edge over there? That's asymmetrical, right? And now I'm going to get a little bit of this brighter green, really little bit, and I'm going to touch it in there just a little bit in a few spots and see if I can't add a little bit of green to make it look really nice. Alright, that's starting to look pretty nice. I think that if I had drawn these again, I would fix this part up here a little bit because it's just too boring. This one's much more interesting. But they're both looking pretty good.